Okay, welcome back to the Paladin's Alliance. We're going to do the Legends Pick'em stage. I already went through the Challenger stage. We did very well. 6 out of 9. Not bad. We got a job done. But with the Legend stage, okay, so look. I'll be real with you guys. I already recorded this one. I didn't have my mic on for the 20-minute video that I had. I was just going through all these picks. But you already seen all of the kind of arguments that people have been giving. So I'm just going to just be straight up with you guys and tell you very briefly as to who I've picked. So I'm going to start with Faze Clan. I think that they'll be very easily able to advance. Whether or not you actually think that they'll be able to contend for the title, that's for you to decide. But I think this team is one of the most clutch teams that we have in CS right now. Regardless of overtime states, they still find a way to clutch it out. And you can't deny Kerrigan in an arena audience. You can't deny Kerrigan alongside a Faze roster that shows up at big tournaments. So I think that they're going to try to at least get as close as possible to cap off their Grand Slam with IEM Rio. Navi, I'm going to put them through as well. You can't deny the amount of hunger that Simple has. He is undeniable. There's so much firepower on this roster that even if one of these people fall off just a little bit, we're looking at more likely Bit as of recent. You have players like Perfecto that are stepping up to fill his place. So I think that there's no reason why Navi shouldn't be able to perform. I think that the capabilities that they've been showing across the board right now in at least qualifying for playoffs and taking it close to some of the best teams in the world is high right now. And it'd be foolish to not put them through. Now, when we get to the champion stage, we'll have a good enough sample size to suggest whether or not they can go deep. But as of right now, you cannot deny that this is a playoff contending team, a title contending team. So I'm going to put through Liquid. I'm basically going from like most sure to like least sure, or like the most I can vouch for to the least I can vouch for. And I'm going to put Liquid in third, just because I think that regardless of what you think of the kind of caliber of game that they showed at EPL, they still beat Cloud9 twice. They still showed that they could take it toe-to-toe with Vitality. It wasn't an easy series by any means. And if Elite showed up on that day, we could have had a completely different outcome. And we'd be talking about Liquid in a very different light. We might even be in a situation where we'd be talking about Liquid in essence, in terms of how we talk about Vitality now that they've won EPL. But I still think that I have some reservations about OC in general, whether or not he can handle a big pressure environment. He did very well at Cologne, so I was happy to see that. But I'm not sure, especially after how he kind of had this wishy-washy performance at EPL. I think he's that difference maker. But other than that, you've got some very seasoned players. You've got Naf, you've got Elige, you've got Yekindar, and I think all three of these players can pop off at any point. Nitro is also a very calm and collected player. Obviously, organizationally, there is a possibility that they just mentally collapse, but I don't see it happening here, and I think that they'll be able to get through, no problem. This is probably the weirdest one that I'm gonna put them smack dab in the middle in terms of whether or not I think they're gonna be going through. It's just such a weird situation right now with Vitality. But when they got into the BO3s, you could still see that they were able to put on a show. They're still able to beat the necessary teams ahead of them, and they did have some balls dropped. But regardless, I think that Magisk is still showing that he has some key impact in some anchor roles. You can still see that Dupree is also having a key impact. Zywoo is undeniable right now. And then also, I mean, I think the biggest what-if point is whether or not Spinks shows up. How does Spinks feel? How does he actually navigate through all of this? And I'm still very like, I don't know. Obviously, it's not with the ends Spinks that we're come to expect from him. But at the same time, I'd like to think that the communication has come up, the tactics have come up as well, and I think that they have got a very stable fundamental core that, regardless of the kind of record that they get, I still think that they can go through. And for that reason, I'm going to have Vitality to qualify for the champion stage. You can definitely make arguments. I'm not going to say that you can't, that they just don't qualify, but I'm leaning and erring to the side that they'll get the job done, especially when you have such a force like Zywoo to be reckoned with. Outsiders are going to be my next team. A little bit unorthodox, but at the end of the day, I still think that the system that they've been putting forward through Jame has still been so consistent. And that's the key word, I think, when it comes to stages like this. Something that can be so volatile, you know what you can expect from the Outsiders. You know that you can expect a very across-the-board measured team, and the individuals aren't necessarily the flashiest. They don't have the flashiest brand of Counter-Strike, but they just constrict and get into your heads. And I think that no matter the environment they're put in, these guys are ice cold players. They don't feel pressure like other teams might, that you can see that they can buckle under 3,000, 4,000 people in the audience. I don't think that Outsiders is such a team. And with that being said, even with the individuals, I still think that there's some players that are playing out of their minds right now. Fame has shown a very good challenger stage. He's shown that he's a very clear upgrade over Buster. And obviously, you could talk about Flit, you can talk about Jane, but even players like Kickert are showing, and Norbert are showing their weight in gold as well, as they have been previously. So I'm going to go with Outsiders here. It's a bit of a risk, but I think that they can sneak through those 2-2 matchups. That I'd like to put Outsiders as that 5th team. My next team that I'm going to put through here is Cloud9. I think that Cloud9 has played the maximum number of maps that they're supposed to in order to qualify for the Legend stage. And it's not necessarily the prettiest, but they got the job done. And I think with how individually based their strategy is, how willing that they want to base their game off of the form of these individuals, I have to say that they've gotten a ton of practice to ramp up. And that series against Gamer Legion, sure, their T-sides looked very, very rough. But at the end of the day, I still think that Axile, Shiro, and Hobbit can get the job done. Especially Shiro, man. Shiro is playing out of his mind. I think previously you could have a discussion about whether or not he has enough impact on the server, whether he saves too much, whether he's not the flashiest opper, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. He's not clutching enough. But right now, you can very clearly see the impact that he has on a server, and he is just willing this team to get through certain series. Like the game against Imperial, they should have lost. They should have been down and out. But he willed them to win that series, and after they did, they got all that momentum back, and they looked like a completely changed team directly after. So it is a risk, sure, and that's why I put them towards the tail end, because this team can mentally collapse. But they've also shown that they can beat teams like Faze in best of threes in playoff situations, and that has to give some plaudits to me and some credence to say that, hey, Cloud9 needs to be considered to qualify for the champion stage, and so that's why I'm going to put them through. Now, whether or not Axile can wake up in time and showcase that he's still a world-class rifler, well, it's yet to be seen. So we're going to have to take a look later on and actually see if that's the case. So the final team, kind of a little wishy-washy with how I wanted to pick this one. Ents, I'm still very not sold on this roster, this new iteration just yet. I still think they need time and how to communicate with Sunpies. Sunpies has to get more comfortable in an international roster. I don't think he's done it yet. At Rotterdam, I saw signs of greatness, but I didn't see it all come together. I still think Valde needs some more time in the server. He's showing also great signs. All of them are showing great signs, but I don't think it's enough to get them through to qualification, and that's my main issue right now. So that's my main qualm with them. So I'm not going to put them through. Sprout, again, I think they need more time as well. I just don't think that they're at the caliber of teams right now. When they get to the best of threes, I think they're really going to struggle, because I don't think that their map pool is as strong as you might think. I think you can talk about Lonks and the kind of individual prowess that he has, but when he plays in pressure situation, this guy crumbles. He is very young. He talks a big game, but at the end of the day, the results are the results, and statistically, he has not been showing up. And I think he's a very key win condition of whether or not Sprout can go through, so I don't have them either. I'm still very unimpressed and unenthused by Spirit as a whole. I don't think that they have what it takes in terms of kind of just depth of like strategy right now. I think that it relies very heavily on Patsy's entries. And yeah, I think he'll still be a very strong force in this tournament for sure. He's definitely going to turn some heads. However, I still think that with these allegations that are circling around the squad with Wonderful and the match fixing allegations, I think it's going to have a heavy cloud over the squad, and I think that they're going to struggle. And I also just don't think that the fundamentals of this squad is reliant enough on them succeeding. So I'm not going to put Spirit through either. Mouse, I think that I enjoyed what I watched from them in the challenger stage. They definitely look like they have what it takes. Xerxin has slotted in on this squad very well. Frozen has been playing very well as well. But I think my main issue is that they haven't been backed into a corner yet. And I don't know how Mouse plays when they're backed into a corner. And that is why I'm not going to be putting them through. I don't know what to expect when you've got such a young roster and a quote-unquote illegitimate veteran on the squad in Dexter to kind of rally these troops. And even Cyclone, I don't think, has enough experience at the top level. So I'm shirking away, and I'm more so I'm more so selecting these squads that can stabilize under the pressure rather than succumb to it. So I'm not going to put Mouse through. BNE, they have some fantastic CT sides, but man, do their T sides need work. I think that they don't have a strong enough map pool in terms of winning the BO3s, but I definitely think that they'll be able to knock some upsets out with the best of ones. So watch out for them. I'm right here, so I might as well put big to 03. I think the main two picks that I had was between Big and Fnatic. I think that Sprout and BNE and Mouse all have the opportunities to win best of ones. But with Big, I just was not impressed overall by this squad. I think that the overperformances from Searson and Tabson, or sorry, not Tabson. I'd like to think that Tabson is a very, very skilled player and he'll be able to hold up. But I think the Searson performance was a bit over-exaggerated. He went against AWP players that I just don't think were very good, and I also don't think they beat very many good teams. I think the Furia game, you could say, is the only big win that they had. And that win also came off the back of, I think, more so Furia being a little bit more overeager, overzealous. And I don't think that's why Big just won because they were the better team or whatnot. So I'm not going to put Big to qualify. I'm not going to put Big to even say they don't get eliminated without getting a win. So that's where I'm putting them. 0-3 for me. So now we are at this last spot. Again, I was between Fnatic and Big, so I'm not very sold on Fnatic just qualifying. I think they also have the potential to win a best of one here or there. I was thinking about Furia, but I'm not going to go with Furia just because I think that they just don't know how to play in front of this crowd in particular. I think they showed some real poise internationally previously when they're outside of Brazil, but there's something about just kind of the way they want to showboat and play up the crowd a lot. And I think it's going to come back to haunt them. And I don't think that Furia can get the job done. I would love for them to qualify because, man, if we could have them in the arena, it would be so fantastic. So I'm hoping the best for Furia. It's my fingers crossed pick that I hope I am wrong. But I'm going to go with Heroic. I'm going to go with Heroic just because whether or not this team actually performs with Yabby is another thing. But the momentum that they've built up with the showdown and the core of the squad having reached countless playoffs, I think that this is the time for Heroic to qualify for another playoffs here at Rio. I don't think they necessarily feel pressure in this kind of situation. I think that Katie and Stown and Tessas are a very, very strong core. And I think, and I have to also add Shush as well. And I think that all of these factors combined and time, it's a lot of serious time to prep while this is all happening, garner a lot of information on some of these challenger stage teams. They also are very good at beating lesser opposition. When they play against worse opposition, I think they can actually take that leg up and show that who's boss. So I'm gonna have Heroic to go through as my last team. I think I'm most skeptical about them because I still just don't know enough about them with Yabby, and I'm not completely sold on them actually going deep. So I'll put Heroic as my last squad. NIP will be my 3-0 team. This is a very weird one for sure, but NIP will be my 3-0 team. I have a very love-hate relationship with this organization. But I absolutely adore Rez Brolin and Hampus as a core. I think they've done so many fantastic things together. And I was very worried after Alexi B was into the roster that Hampus would drop in performance. But in fact, he looks even more off the leash, more hungry. And he's been put into place very well by Alexi B early on. Top of the table at the RMR. And that in and of itself is boding well. But again, that sample size can be a blessing in some ways in terms of how much tape that the opponents can kind of sell on, but I can also think it'd be a big curse as well, where they haven't gotten enough reps. I don't necessarily know if that was a honeymoon phase and we could just see an absolute collapse from NIP. I'm still not sold on the Res AWP. I think he's okay, but it could be very much an S-Attack situation where it just crumbles at the highest stages. So I'm very unsure with NIP, so I'm going to go on a gamble here, and I'm going to say that they go through 3-0. If not, I just don't think they'll qualify. I'm still not just sold on everything. So this is my pick'ems, and I think that it's going to be a very tough one. I'm sorry I flew through everything. It's just that I'm very frustrated that I recorded all of this for a good while, and I couldn't actually get it out with all the audio. But I hope you kind of got my thought process here, and I hope you guys enjoy the Legend Stage. We streamed a little bit for the Challengers. We're going to try to do a couple for the Legend Stage. So just follow the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/datpaladin with a 1, not an I. Follow the Twitter, twitter.com/datpaladin. Gonna be live tweeting. I've been live tweeting for quite some time, and I hope you guys enjoy the Legend stage. I hope you enjoy all the content coming in the near future. Sorry for no NA video, NA podcast. We're gonna be back with that with another special guest as soon as possible. Just logistically, it's been tough to get everything sorted, but we will get that as soon as possible. But I will catch you guys in the next video. So stay tuned and enjoy. Peace.